Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, making a quick video giving a quick opinion on music streaming services. As you might know, music streaming services been a pretty hot topic in the news lately. From Tidal to Apple, they made a big announcement recently with Apple Music, which they will probably be throwing onto all of our devices soon so that they could throw tons of U2 songs at us. And Spotify, I mean, they're always in the news for some reason. Well, I think music streaming services, we're really not going to see any more competition in this market than we are right now. At least not interesting, innovative competition. I feel like Spotify has already set the tone for how a successful music streaming service is going to work. And every new service that we see is essentially going to be just kind of working within that frame of mind in some way or another. Not just because music streaming services, the way that they make money, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, it's pretty obvious, it's pretty limited. But also simultaneously, what people want music streaming services to do are pretty limited and simple and straightforward. Your average internet user is wondering, does your music streaming service, does your platform have the music I want to hear? Yeah? Okay, cool. Is it free? If you can have those two boxes checked, you may in fact have a customer right there. But if you're going to be charging for your service and adding all these bells and whistles, bringing in these celebrity endorsements and basically, I don't know, adding playlists, whatever these future companies are going to do in order to sort of hook you in and jump onto their platform, it's just going to be angling this very, plentiful and ubiquitous product just in a certain way in order for you to go listen to it over there. Some places are going to be like, our music sounds better. It's higher quality. Although there was a recent thing on NPR Music where they had people actually try to hear audio quality, and the end result was that all of the people who did the test did better, slightly better than picking completely at random, which is not very encouraging for the companies that are trying to be like, ours sounds better. Yeah, it sounds better. There are other companies that'll say, well, you know, we pay artists maybe a little bit more or something like that. I mean, each one is going to have its own sort of backstory and angle, but at the end of the day, it's just kind of like watching different companies try to compete to sell bottled water. It's all water. All I'm saying in this video is I think the competition is pretty much over. The big boys have been established unless there's, some huge lawsuit or there's been, millions of dollars sort of embezzled behind the scenes. I think who is playing in the sandbox right now is just well established. These people aren't going anywhere. For sure, we are going to see more people enter, but the amount of variation from company to company is going to be incredibly small. Of course, the people who run these companies are going to tell you that that's not the case, but, they're trying to sell you a product. So, they're not going to be like, well, our streaming service is like every other one. Some people are going to be drinking that Poland Spring. That's cool. You got that Perrier as well. You got that Dasani. I'm just sort of, sipping from the tap. Got that pure water filter on there. Just that's what I'm doing. Might throw it in a Brita. Let's not forget who the real power players in this situation are. You might have companies like Apple sort of hopping in the music streaming service ring. But think about how recently we just had Tidal sort of getting threatened by Sony to pull all of Beyonce's music because Sony wasn't being paid enough for the streams of Beyonce's music, according to Sony. So these record labels are ultimately the decider of where this music is going to show up on what streaming services. So how ambitious or weird or experimental or sort of well-meaning a streaming service can be with how much money they're going to pay themselves, the artists, the label, At the end of the day, the labels are kind of really pulling the strings. So these streaming services, they're kind of at the mercy of the labels in a sense. So again, I kind of feel like we're talking about water here. Sure, not all artists' albums are the same, not all music is the same. I'm not trying to say that, but as far as these major players, they have access pretty much to a lot of the same music. So as a result, in terms of the product that you're getting, it's not going to vary that much going from platform to platform. Sure, we have artists like Taylor Swift who have decided they're not going to mess with Spotify. Certainly there are going to be more artists going into the future who might make those same choices, might make similar choices to which streaming services they want to work with, they want their music to appear on. But for the most part, your average artist is going to want their music on the platforms that people are going to. So, bleh. That's what I think about music streaming services. Competition's dead, competition's over forever.